All right, so today we're diving into the world of Alexander Fleming, really trying to understand how this guy, the man behind penicillin, well, how he changed everything. And we're using his Nobel Prize bio to guide us, to kind of see what we can dig up, going beyond that iconic Petri dish moment.
What's really cool is that his journey to that discovery, well, it wasn't exactly a straight line. You might be surprised to hear that he wasn't always, in the lab with those test tubes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. So did he start out as some kind of child prodigy or something?
Not exactly. Fleming was born back in 1881 in Scotland and actually spent some time working in a shipping office before he decided to go for medicine.
A shipping office. Wow. That's not exactly the usual start for a world-famous scientist. It makes you think, what kind of things stuck with him from those days? Did those early experiences kind of shape how he approached research later on?
That is a great question. It's tough to say for sure, but those years outside of, the typical academic track, they might have contributed to his way of thinking, his practical mindset, his sharp observation skills. Even before he went into medicine, he was already interested in bacteria and how they work, and antiseptics, too. It's like he was laying the foundation for his future discoveries without even realizing it.
It's fascinating how even in those early days, he was drawn to fighting infections. And then, of course, there was World War I. The Nobel bio mentions he served as a captain in the Royal Army Medical Corps. He even got a mention in dispatches. Talk about a world away from the lab.
Oh, absolutely. To think, he went from those World War I trenches back to the lab at St. Mary's Medical School. What a shift. Makes you wonder how those experiences dealing with medicine in wartime, the urgency of it all, how that might have changed his perspective.
I've always been fascinated by those aha moments in science. And Fleming's discovery of lysozyme in 1921 seems like a classic example. The bio describes it as this natural antibacterial enzyme you find in things like tears and saliva. What's so significant about this discovery, especially in the context of Fleming's work?
This is where his fascination with the body's own defenses comes in. Think of lysozyme like a tiny warrior inside us, fighting off bacteria before they can even get a foothold. Fleming, even at this stage, was already captivated by how our bodies fight infection naturally. It's almost like he was on a quest to find new ways to help our bodies win that fight.
It's like a stepping stone to something even bigger, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's get to that famous Petri dish moment in 1928. We all know the story of the mold contaminating his staph cultures, but can you walk me through what made this observation so revolutionary?
Okay, picture this. Fleming is back in his lab after a vacation, going through his Staphylococcus cultures, Petri dishes full of bacteria, and there it is, a dish with this mold that's clearly not supposed to be there. Most researchers, they might have just tossed it aside, but Fleming, with his keen eye, he sees something extraordinary. The mold was actually stopping the bacteria from growing around it.
Wait, so he's looking at this messed up dish, and instead of seeing a failed experiment, he sees something groundbreaking. What was it about this specific mold that made him stop and really pay attention?
Here's where his earlier work with lysozyme might have played a part. Years later, he's looking at another natural substance, a mold this time, effectively wiping out bacteria. But this wasn't just any mold. It was a particular type called Penicillium notatum. And what blew him away was that even when diluted, this mold kept stopping bacterial growth in its tracks.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. He realizes this isn't just some random contamination, but something with immense potential. He called it penicillin, and, well, the world of medicine would never be the same, right?
You got it. It's one thing to observe something interesting, but Fleming's genius, it was in seeing the potential of this mold to actually combat bacterial infections.
Yeah.
This wasn't just some lab oddity. It was a possible weapon against diseases that had been plaguing humanity for centuries.
Can you imagine what must have been going through his head? Did he instantly grasp just how huge his discovery was, or did it take time for it to sink in?
That's a tough one. It's hard to know for sure. But one thing's clear, Fleming was nothing if not persistent. Even though isolating and purifying penicillin presented challenges, he got his findings out there, published them, and kept championing its potential. He even tried to loop others into developing it further. He knew he might not have all the answers, all the skills needed on his own.
That's incredible. He knew he had stumbled onto something truly special, even if the path forward wasn't totally clear. And we know how it all unfolded. Penicillin went on to change medicine forever, the first widely available antibiotic. Its impact is hard to overstate.
Absolutely. But before we get into that, I think it's worth pausing just to appreciate the scale of what Fleming achieved. We're talking about a discovery that flipped the script on how we treat bacterial infections. saving countless lives. It's no wonder he was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1945, along with Howard Florey and Ernst Chain, who played key roles in getting penicillin developed and mass-produced.
It's a truly remarkable story, and we're really just scratching the surface. I can't wait to dig deeper into Fleming's life and explore just how much his work changed everything. But for now, let's just take a moment for all of this to sink in.
Yes, let's think about the journey so far, from the shipping office to the battlefield, from lysozyme to that accidental discovery of penicillin. It's a testament to Fleming's curiosity, his sharp observation skills, and his sheer dedication to understanding the world around him.
And to think, this is just the beginning. I'm excited to see what other fascinating things we unearth as we continue our deep dive into the world of Alexander Fleming. Welcome back. I don't know about you, but I'm already feeling so inspired by what we've learned about Alexander Fleming. It's crazy to think how this one discovery just changed the course of history, medical history, that is.
It really is remarkable. We've been talking about that eureka moment, but I think it's important to emphasize just how much Fleming's work really did transform our world, Like, imagine a world without antibiotics. It's mind-blowing. The simplest infections, things we barely think about today, those could be life-threatening.
It's almost impossible to fathom how different things would be. Surgeries, childbirth, even minor injuries, all of those would carry huge risks.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the immediate impact, right? His work, it paved the way for the development of so many other antibiotics, expanding our arsenal against bacteria. We've been able to fight off diseases that were, absolute scourges, improving global health, increasing life expectancy.
Wow. The ripple effects are just mind-boggling. It's easy to get caught up in that celebratory narrative, but something that really struck me in the Nobel bio was Fleming's foresight when it came to antibiotic resistance.
You're right. It's almost eerie how prescient he was. Even back then, at the very beginning of the antibiotic era, he was already warning against overuse, misuse, predicting that bacteria could, develop resistance over time. Unfortunately, those warnings weren't always heeded. And look at us now, grappling with a global health crisis.
It's a sobering reminder that scientific breakthroughs, as amazing as they are, aren't a quick fix. They require ongoing research, responsible use, and a constant awareness of the challenges, the evolving challenges that they present. Fleming's work gave us this powerful tool, but it's up to us to use it wisely.
Exactly. It's a shared responsibility. Scientists, policymakers, healthcare providers, even just individuals, we all play a role in making sure antibiotics keep working. It's about awareness, stewardship, a commitment to preserving these life-saving tools for the future.
This deep dive has really been eye-opening. I feel like I'm learning so much more than just the facts about his discovery. It's about understanding the whole picture, the challenges, even the unintended consequences.
That's what's so great about these deep dives, isn't it? Going beyond the surface level, connecting the dots, wrestling with the complexities of scientific advancements. Fleming's story isn't just about celebrating a hero. It's about understanding the ongoing journey, the scientific progress.
Speaking of, I'm curious to learn more about Fleming, the person. The Nobel bio mentions he was married twice. His son even followed in his footsteps and became a doctor. It's a good reminder that behind those big scientific achievements, there was a real person living a life outside the lab.
It is fascinating, isn't it? These personal details, they help us paint a more complete picture of who Fleming was. He wasn't just some brilliant mind. He was a husband, a father, someone who lived through some extraordinary times, the good and the bad. And those experiences, they must have shaped him.
Right. And those experiences might have even fueled his drive, his desire to make a real difference, like to use his knowledge and skills to improve other people's lives. And the bio mentions his love for the Territorial Army. He served for years before World War I. Not exactly your typical scientist thing.
Yeah, it shows how multifaceted he was.
Right.
It's a reminder that people, even brilliant scientists like Fleming, they're not one-dimensional. They can't be neatly categorized. He had passions, interests outside of the lab, and those experiences, they probably contributed to who he was, both as a person and as a researcher.
And I'm also really intrigued by his passion for art. Did you know he actually painted using bacteria?
Wait, seriously? I had no idea.
It's true. He'd use different colored bacteria on Petri dishes to create these beautiful, super intricate images. This amazing intersection of art and science.
That's incredible. It speaks to his creativity, his ability to find beauty in unexpected places. It makes you wonder, like, what other hidden talents did he have? What other things was he passionate about? It really humanizes him. He wasn't just a scientific machine. He was a real person with all these different interests and this unique view of the world.
And that's what makes exploring his life so captivating. It's not just about the breakthroughs. It's about understanding the person who made them. Sadly, he died in 1955, but what a life. His burial in St. Paul's Cathedral, that says it all. The respect, the admiration he earned, not just from the scientific community, but from an entire nation.
It really shows just how profound an impact he had. His work touched so many lives, and his legacy, well, it continues to inspire us today.
And that brings us to a really important question. What does Fleming's legacy mean for us now? In a world facing all these new health challenges.
That's the question we should all be asking. What can we learn from his story, his approach to science, his curiosity?
How can we take those lessons and apply them to the challenges we're facing today? It's clear that Fleming's impact, it goes way beyond just the discovery of penicillin. He left us with a blueprint for scientific progress, this amazing testament to the power of observation, perseverance, and being open to the unexpected.
Absolutely. And it's not just about big scientific discoveries. It's about nurturing that same spirit of curiosity, that willingness to question, to explore, to imagine something better. Fleming's legacy reminds us that each of us has the potential to make a difference, no matter how small.
It's a really powerful message of hope and inspiration. But I'm really eager to hear your final thoughts on this. As we wrap up our deep dive into Alexander Fleming's world, what is the one thing, the one key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
I think the most important thing to remember is that Fleming's journey, it wasn't a solo mission. He worked with others, sought out experts, shared his discoveries.
Right. He wasn't working in a vacuum. He was part of this bigger scientific community. And it was through collaboration, through sharing knowledge, that his discoveries really made a difference.
Exactly. And that's a powerful lesson for us all, I think. We can do so much more when we work together, share ideas, support each other. Fleming's story proves that. It's a testament to the power of collective action, the impact that even one person can have when they, dare to dream big and work hard for a common goal.
That's a beautiful note to end on. It's a reminder that even when we're facing huge challenges, we have the power to make a difference.
And who knows, maybe somewhere out there right now, another Fleming is hard at work, driven by curiosity and that desire to make the world a better place. Maybe their discoveries are right around the corner, just waiting to be unearthed.
It's a thought that fills me with hope, with excitement for the future. So to our listener, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop believing in the power of human ingenuity to change the world, just like Alexander Fleming did. Until our next deep dive, stay curious. And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the world of Alexander Fleming. We've really gone deep on this one, from his, kind of unexpected beginnings to that incredible moment with the Petri dish, not to mention his, almost spooky foresight about antibiotic resistance.
Yeah, and we've explored how his discoveries didn't just change medicine, but they really changed our whole perspective on disease, survival, the whole thing. It's amazing to think about the impact, even now, so many years later.
Totally. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm super curious to hear what you think about Fleming's legacy today. It's one thing to say he was influential back then, but how is his work still relevant to the stuff we're facing now?
Well, for one, Fleming's story is a great reminder that those huge breakthroughs, they often come from the most unexpected places. Think about it. He wasn't exactly setting out to find some miracle cure. He was driven by curiosity, that keen eye for observation, a willingness to step into the unknown. It really shows the power of basic research, how important it is to cultivate that questioning mindset.
That's so true. It's easy to get caught up in trying to solve problems, like right now,
Yeah.
But sometimes the biggest discoveries, they come from those moments where you're just exploring, experimenting, almost stumbling into things. Makes you think, what other penicillins are out there just waiting for someone to notice them?
Exactly. And I think Fleming's legacy also makes us think about the ethical side of those scientific leaps. We talked about antibiotic resistance, how important it is to be responsible. But there are so many areas where science is pushing the envelope. Artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, it's all happening so fast. Fleming's story is a reminder that progress isn't always, neat and tidy. We have to think about the consequences, really consider what we're doing.
It's like he's saying, hey, be excited, but be careful too. Celebrate the good stuff, but acknowledge the potential downsides. It's about finding that balance, innovation, and responsibility. That's more important than ever, I think, in this crazy world that's constantly changing.
Another thing about Fleming that I really connect with is his collaborative spirit. The
Hmm.
Nobel bio talks about how he worked with other people, sought out experts, and was so open about sharing his discoveries. It's a reminder that science isn't a one-person show. It needs collaboration, shared knowledge, all those different minds working together.
It's like he knew that no one person has all the answers, right? To really make progress, you need to bring all those perspectives together, the different skills, the different ways of approaching problems. Makes you wonder, what would Fleming have done with the internet, with all the technology we have now for collaboration and sharing data?
That's a really cool thought. Imagine him connecting with researchers all over the world, bouncing ideas back and forth. The possibilities are huge. But even without all that, he understood how important it was to work together, to build on each other's ideas, to share knowledge, and make things better for everyone.
It's a lesson that's so relevant today. With climate change, pandemics, all the stuff we're dealing with, we need that collaborative spirit, that knowledge sharing, more than ever. Fleming's story shows what we can do when we all work together towards the same goal.
Absolutely. And I think his legacy also makes us think about how serendipity, even just plain luck, plays a role in science. We talked about that moment with the Petri dish, right? That random event that led to such a huge discovery. But it wasn't just luck, was it? It was his observation skills, what he already knew, and his openness to the unexpected that made him see the opportunity.
It's like that saying, chance favors the prepared mind. Fleming was ready. He had the training, the curiosity, so he could see the potential in that moldy Petri dish. It makes you think, how many other chance discoveries are out there just waiting for someone who's ready to see them?
Exactly. That's one of the most inspiring things about Fleming's story. It tells us that we don't need all the answers right away. We don't have to follow some rigid path. Sometimes the best discoveries come when we take those unexpected detours.
So as we finish up this deep dive, I'm left with this sense of awe for what Fleming did, but also a deeper understanding of the human side of science. It's not just about formulas and data. It's about the people behind it all, their passions, their challenges, their victories, and that belief that knowledge can change the world.
Couldn't agree more. Fleming's story is a reminder that science is a human thing. It's about curiosity, creativity that drive to make a difference. It's a story that keeps inspiring us, challenging us, and reminding us of what's possible when we dare to explore.
It's been an amazing journey. I'm so glad we could do this together. I think we've all learned so much about Alexander Fleming, the man, the scientist, and the legacy he left behind. And to our listener, we hope this deep dive has sparked your own curiosity, inspired you to see the world with a sense of wonder. You never know what incredible discoveries you might make.